Will come to order. It is Wednesday, June 24th at 9:01 a.m. Ms. Larson, will you please conduct the roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Boygan.
Here.
Commissioner Eaton. Commissioner Eaton.
Looks like she's muted.
Yeah, Commissioner Eaton, I'm sorry. If you could unmute yourself one more time. I'm sorry, Commissioner Eaton. We're still having problems hearing you. I see that you're unmuted. We'll come back to you.
Hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Commissioner Gibbs.
Here.
Commissioner Hahn.
Here.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Here.
Commissioner Jolan.
Here.
Commissioner Mesner.
Here.
Commissioner Overturf.
Here.
Commissioner Putnam.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 9 out of 9 commissioners present.
Great. Thank you much, Ms. Larson. First up, we have public comment. And let's see here. What is the time frame we have for that, Ms. Larson or Mr. Davenport, in terms of folks that can speak? Is it 2 or 3 minutes?
Certainly, we do have approximately 23 people who have signed up to speak, and we've allotted 1 hour. So we can, in order to try to accommodate all members of the public who have signed up, we could give them 2 minutes to make sure that they have an opportunity to speak, if that's acceptable, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's very important that we allow everyone to speak, for sure.
Great.
So, Ms. Larson, I think you're the driver behind this and how you call people up, I believe. So I'll kind of turn it over to you maybe for this part.
Certainly, happy to help. So our first commenter is Mr. Mark Waltermeyer. Mr. Waltermeyer, you've been unmuted, so if you would like to speak, you are ready to go.
Thank you. My name is Mark Waltermeyer. I'm in Hotchkiss, Colorado. I farm in the North Fork Valley, and I'm on the board of VOGA, the Valley Organic Growers Association, representing about 125 producers in the North Fork Valley. First of all, I'd like to thank you for volunteering your time over the past year on this commission, and thank you for your effort in the rulemaking you've gone through so far, and to thank you for including the public in the proceedings. I appreciate the opportunities to engage. Many of us who farm in the North Fork feel particularly vulnerable to the consequences of upstream gas and oil development, and want to encourage you to continue to include our concerns in your rulemaking process. Our water comes through the areas where oil and gas activity now occurs and the areas where oil and gas activity is slated to occur. Access to this is along a narrow, winding 2-lane road subject to slumps and rockfalls, a highway that also runs through our communities and alongside our river and irrigation ditches. I have 3 specific areas of concern. First, I want a notification procedure that allows me to know when an incident occurs in the watershed above me, and to the extent of its effects. I want to be able to sign on to be notified directly when something upstream of me occurs so I can make contingency plans if necessary. Past incidents have made it to the COGCC website, but that's not good enough. We deserve to be promptly and directly notified of spills and their risk. Second, I want the COGCC to consider the geology of our area when making decisions about oil and gas drilling. Slides and slumps are common and extensive in the areas above us, and the shifting soil is dangerous for more than just the traffic up and down the highway. Third, I encourage you to continue your work to address funding for the orphan well program. Current economics may lead to more orphaned wells, and we need to ensure we are able to address the threat of these wells. The cost of the program must also be covered by the industry, not the taxpayers. So thank you for welcoming public comment, and again, I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Mr. Larry Foreman. Mr. Foreman, give me a moment and we'll unmute you and you will be ready to go.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Foreman, if you'd like, we're ready for you.
Okay. My name's Larry Foreman. I'm a member of Battlement Concerned Citizens, and I live in the community of Battlement Mesa, which has gas wells close to our drinking water treatment facilities, gas wells close to the middle school, and gas wells that are close to houses and apartments. So I want to thank you for your work on writing rules that will protect the public's health in Colorado. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Foreman. Next up, we have Miss Betsy Leonard. Miss Leonard, I will unmute you and you're ready actually to speak.
Yes, my name is Betsy Leonard, and I'm a member of Battlement Concerned Citizens, and I've been living in Battlement Mesa for 15 years. I would like to commend this group of volunteer commissioners for the excellent work you have done to carry out defining what SB 181 actually means. Although the original expectation of the commission is that you would oversee the adoption of SB 181 mandated rulemakings, but in fact, because the rulemaking schedule was delayed because of the COVID pandemic, you found yourselves adopting flowline and wellbore integrity rules instead. The flowline rules adopted in November 2019 and the wellbore integrity rules adopted in June 2020 are both major steps toward the commission, for the commission. I especially appreciate the openness of the commission that has made these rulemaking hearings more accessible to the general public. You have accepted public comments and have allowed numerous community organizations to participate as parties without legal representation. Although it will not be your responsibility to follow up on issues related to orphan wells, I would still like to make a comment or two. More companies in Colorado and elsewhere are facing financial difficulties. The COGCC remains financially unequipped to deal with the potential increase in abandoned wells by the oil and gas industry. This is not to say that the commissioner's staff have not been meeting their obligations thus far, but that rather recovering and reclaiming abandoned wells is an expensive proposition. And current funding and expected future funding by the state leaves inadequate resources to deal with this issue. However, the COGCC needs to do more than just wait until the worst is happening to take action. I would like to close thanking the Commission for your hard, diligent work in making the public feel welcome in your proceedings. And you have heard hundreds, if not thousands, of comments from the public during your tenure. You have exhibited commendable service during the time you have been seated as the COGCC. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Ms. Leonard. Next, we have Ms. Leslie Robinson. Ms. Robinson, give us a moment. We'll have you unmuted and you are actually ready to speak.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Leslie Robinson from Rifle, chair of the Grand Valley Citizens Alliance, and our members would like to thank you for your long hours and ardent work on the COGCC. The flowline and wellbore integrity rules adopted were both major steps forward. We appreciate that you also made rulemaking hearings more available to citizens and for listening to our concerns. 18 months ago, the Grand Valley Citizens Alliance filed a lawsuit against the COGCC to stop the development of Pad A in Battlement Mesa, which is proposed just hundreds of feet from Battlement's water treatment plant for over 5,000 people and only 508 feet from low-income housing. Our members are trying to prevent another health crisis that would supersede the present problems at the Bella Romero School. There are other lawsuits pending in the state for oil and gas projects that are just too darn close to people and public facilities. We had hoped that you would have made the decision to remand all these pending controversial oil and gas 2A and 2 applications so that their proposed permits could be analyzed under the director's criteria or until the new rules are in place so that our lawsuits and others would be unnecessary. It's not too late to take care of that business today. Please give the new commissioners the directive to stop all these controversial 2A and 2 applications from moving forward so that these pending residential oil and gas projects will be considered under the new rules to protect our health and safety. Again, thank you for your service and for starting the momentum of future rulemaking.
Thank you very much. So next up we have Bonnie Smeltzer and Dave Devaney. I'm going through our participant list and unable to find either Ms. Smeltzer or Mr. Devaney. If you are in the meeting and could chat us and let us know under what name you've registered, that way we'll be able to locate you and unmute you so you can speak. That would be very helpful. Let's see. We next have Peggy Tibbetts. Again, unfortunately, I'm not able to find Ms. Peggy Tibbetts. We'll move on to Ben Tipton. And it looks as if Mr. Tipton also, we're not able to locate him in among the registered users at the moment. So again, Mr. Tipton and Ms. Tibbetts, if you are registered and in the meeting at the moment, if you could please chat us and let us know that you're here, and we will unmute you and let us know how you've signed in. Next up, Roger Steen. Mr. Steen, you're unmuted, so if you would like to speak, you may go ahead.
Sure, thanks. Again, my name is Roger Steen. I'm in Routt County, and I'm a member of Western Colorado Alliance. I'm here to give you a huge thanks for your work on remaking the rules to align them with the citizens' interest in protecting our health, welfare, and the environment. The rules continue to allow for responsible extraction of oil and gas, a continuing necessary resource, and a special recognition to the fact that you are a volunteer group like we are. As of today, Colorado has much more balanced oil and gas rules. There remains some unfinished business that we would encourage the new board to address. I'll mention orphan wells as a primary one. As you've already heard, and you probably know, there are many of these that need proper closure, and more are being orphaned every day. The need to properly plug and abandon these is a costly task, which is now borne by the Colorado citizens. The primary purpose of proper closure is to protect our water supplies, but also to return the disturbed surface to a more natural condition in anticipation of a future use. A second ongoing concern of ours is the lack of communication between CDPHE, and I'm referring now at least to air pollution, and the COGCC. We have had real experience with spotty compliance demonstrations due to unclear responsibilities between the two agencies. There must be a better solution for this problem, and we hope the future commission can have the insight to minimize this compliance oversight problem. Again, thanks for your very dedicated work and successful improvement in the oil and gas development, production, transport rules. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Steen. Next up, we have Barbara Vasquez. Ms. Vasquez, you've been unmuted, so if you'd like to speak.
Morning. I'm Barbara Vasquez, resident of Jackson County and also a member of Western Colorado Alliance. As all those before me, I want to thank all of you for providing an opportunity for public comment at this final meeting of your tenure on COGCC. Your volunteer service has been invaluable, leading the hard work of rulemaking. And your approach to bringing SB 181 to life has been inclusive, as others have commented. Listening to our public concerns from a broad range of stakeholders, including community and environmental organizations. And Although there are issues with overlap and compliance, I believe you recognize that there must be coordination between the AQCC rulemaking and COGCC rulemaking. This is vital since you share responsibility for outcomes. It's unfortunate that the pandemic slowed that work, and I imagine it's been extremely frustrating given your anticipation of completing all the rules. But the flow line and wellbore integrity rules passed under your watch are very important and serve as an example for the new commission as they take up the task to complete the mission of SB 181 rulemaking. Protecting water and air quality, public health and the environment and wildlife during all phases of exploration, drilling, fracking, production, plugging, and reclamation are critical not only to Coloradans who live with the impacts and for our federal government. I think Colorado is in the leadership position, and I hope that we will continue to be. While we work together on finalizing the rulemaking to protect all Coloradans equally, no matter where they live, the state is being challenged economically by the pandemic. And again, you've heard comments about this already this morning. That same recession has exposed the shale oil and gas industry's financial mismanagement that will likely leave hundreds of orphan wells to pollute our air and water with taxpayers on the hook. The new commission must plan for how the state will meet these challenges in parallel with completing the critical SB 181 rulemaking. The fact that two of you here today will serve on the newly constituted commission provides valuable continuity, and many of us look forward to working with you and your new colleagues. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Ms. Vasquez. So the next names I'm going to read off, we've searched for, and unfortunately we don't see them as registered in the hearing today. Mr. Don Lombardi, Mr. Steve Allerton, and Mr. Al Lawandi. Again, we've not been able to find those individuals on the registration. So if you are in the meeting and could chat us and let us know that you're here and how you've registered, we will be able to call on you. Next up, I have Susan Brundage. Ms. Brundage, you should be unmuted. Let's try this again. There you are.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. My name is Susie Brundage, and I'm a resident of Adams County. I want to first thank the Commission for providing space for public comment today. I'm here to ask that you protect my community by cleaning up abandoned oil and gas wells. The oil and gas industry likes to say they're good neighbors to the communities where they drill. But as a Coloradan living on the front lines of oil and gas development, I can tell you that is not true. In fact, I've experienced the industry as unresponsive, uninterested in conversation, and even combative. Truth be told, it's been a nightmare to work with the oil and gas industry, at times consuming my life over the last 3 years. My husband and I bought our forever home 8 years ago in the community where I grew up. A decade ago, I never imagined that my suburban home would be surrounded by industrial development. But today there are numerous proposed and permitted sites within a few miles of my home. What's more, our community is riddled with old, sometimes abandoned wells that have leaked and exposed my neighbors and me to toxic chemicals that degrade our air quality and leach into our ground. As someone with mild asthma, there are days when it is difficult for me to breathe. The scariest of these moments happened last year when I was pregnant. During a particularly bad stretch of poor air quality days, I struggled to breathe so much that I rushed to see my doctor, worried not only about my health, but also the health of my growing baby. The need to combat poor air quality and improperly closed wells is now more urgent than ever. One of the first actions must be cleaning up the 275 currently identified orphan wells left behind by bankrupt or irresponsible companies. Industry has attempted to wash their hands of these sites and leave taxpayers with the bill. As drilling becomes less financially viable, Coloradans simply cannot afford to allow the industry to keep conducting business as usual. Throughout the rulemaking process, it is imperative that the commissioners prioritize input from impacted residents. We should be stakeholders that have a real voice, one that is valued and listened to. My children, like all Coloradans, deserve access to clean air and water. They deserve to enjoy our beautiful landscape without being exposed to toxic chemicals or poor air quality. It's time to protect the health and safety of people over profit, ensure that oil and gas regulators listen to the voices of impacted Coloradans, and finally begin to place our right to a safe and healthy community first. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brundage. The next three names I'm going to read, again, we have not been able to find them as registered in the hearing today. So if I call your name and you are in the hearing, please chat us how you've registered so we'll be able to locate you and allow you to speak. Ms. Kim Braun, Mr. Alan Harvey, and Mr. Steve Douglas. So next up, we have Mr. Neil Platzer. Mr. Platzer, you're unmuted, so if you would like to speak, go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Neil Platzer. I'm a resident of Montrose, Colorado, representing myself. Thank you so much for volunteering your time to serve on this commission over the past year, and I cannot tell you how much I cherish what you do. And I'll go into a little bit of why. First, I want to say I'm not against the oil and gas industry in general. Back in Texas, I owned a business that served these industries through the cleaning and repair of tank barges. In the early part of this career was a time of industry first. Chemical and petrochemical residue was discharged by industry into waterways, and vapors were discharged into the air. Some of the consequences of these practices were no marine life in the bayous, as well as some of the nation's unhealthiest air qualities. A personal consequence to me was the development of an immune system disorder, which has plagued me for 30 years. As society began to put the environment and people into the priority in the management of these industries, things gradually improved. Dangerous liquids and vapors were no longer discharged into the waterways and atmosphere, and eventually we did begin to see marine life return to these waterways. The industries did not leave, they didn't diminish. They were able to move forward with thriving industry as well as improved health and environment for both their workers and for the often disadvantaged that lived in the vicinity of these industries. I was very fortunate to have a chance encounter with a doctor who said moving to a cooler, drier, cleaner climate could help some people with my symptoms, and that's what led me to Montrose, Colorado. Another motivation was the discovery of the beautiful and pristine public lands in Colorado. It was a treasure I never dreamed of when I was in Texas, and such a valued treasure. And with my improved health here, I've been able to recreate in this awesome community. In summary, any industry with the potential to affect the health and environment must work with government and concerned citizens of the affected areas to avoid mistakes. And with the help and oversight of health experts, we can protect the health of not only the workers, but also, as I mentioned, the often disadvantaged innocents who live in the areas where this industry is performed. And the help of land and air quality experts allow the industry to provide nationally needed oil and gas while assuring that the irreplaceable treasure that is Colorado continues to exist for generations to come. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Platzer. Next, we have Ms. Jan Rose. Ms. Rose, you've been unmuted, so if you'd like to speak, we're ready.
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Ms. Larson. I want to begin by offering my appreciation to the Volunteer Commission. I can't imagine how difficult your jobs have been in the last year. And I am so appreciative of the improvements in public health and safety that you've initiated in our state with both the flow line rulemaking and now the recently completed wellbore integrity rulemaking. really tremendous improvements in health and safety for both the industry and its workers and for the residents of Colorado. I'd like to urge the new commission, many of whom are on the call today, to immediately prioritize a financial assurances rulemaking upon completion of the mission change rulemaking. I think that recent economic events have made it extremely clear that not only can Colorado, our general fund and our taxpayer dollars not continue to be used to clean up industry mess and industry orphaned wells, but there are some substantial and ongoing questions about the financial security of the industry as a whole. And I think that the COGCC is tasked with that mission in the text of SB 181, and that another rulemaking is critical to ensure that we have the financial assurances to move forward safely while allowing industry to continue to develop oil and gas resources. Secondly, I'd like to urge the incoming commission to consider tabling, putting on hold all new 2 and 2A permits until the mission change rulemaking is complete. Based on previous experience with both Proposition 112 and SB 181, we saw an incredible flurry of new permit applications in anticipation of what might happen if 112 passed or if 181 passed. And I don't want to see history repeat itself this time. I don't think that it's the intent of the law or of the commission to allow a flurry of last minute applications grandfathered themselves into obsolete rules. So I'd like to encourage the commission to consider that both today and in rulemakings in July and August until the mission change rulemaking begins toward the end of August. I'll close by, again, thanking you so much as a commission for the hard work you've done. I can't imagine how difficult it's been from time to time. I'm sorry if the approach by public comment has at times become hostile or non-complementary to your goals. I've learned a lot from working with you for the last year and a half, and I really look forward to working with you, the new commission, in the future. Thanks again.
Thank you, Ms. Rose. Next, we have Mr. Wes Wilson. Mr. Wilson, you are unmuted and you may speak.
Thank you for offering this opportunity for public speaking. I'm Weston Wilson, Science Advisor for Be the Change, and speaking to you today from Salida. As a number of people have pointed out, you have an emergency on your hands. The expectation is you're going to get more bankruptcies, resulting in abandoned wells becoming the ward of the state. This simply must and should not happen. You need to issue an emergency order, updating your bonding requirements for those companies in financial stress, especially those companies who are shutting in wells, which is an indication that they may abandon that, and these wells become the liability of the state. We know abandoned wells leak, or many of them do. Benzene, which can be toxic immediately nearby or harm groundwater, and they leak methane, which is a global climate problem. You must take this action soon. It wasn't as if the COVID virus stress on this industry is completely new. We've had some 200 companies in the United States go bankrupt since 2015. This boom and bust industry has told you that over and over again. This cannot wait for future rulemaking. It must not become a reward for these bad actors to reward their bad behavior by abandoning and leaving a liability to the state. I thank you for receiving these comments and wish the future commission very aggressive and quick action to update the rules to be consistent with 181. And let me make one final point. The mission change rulemaking for this commission must apply also to the Air Quality Control Commission and the permits issued by CDPHE for oil and gas facilities. It is inappropriate the way Mr. Putman and Mr. Kaufman are responding to 181. They're saying their sole obligation is to do better. That's not the obligation under 181. They must comply with 181's purpose to only issue permits once they can show it's protective for public health, safety, and welfare. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Next, we have Mr. Tom Easley. Mr. Easley, you've been unmuted, so if you'd like to begin speaking.
Good morning. My name is Tom Easley, and I am with Colorado Communities for Climate Action. CC4CA is a coalition of 34 local governments across the state advocating for stronger state and federal climate policy. Our jurisdictions represent more than 1/7 of the state's population, including both urban Front Range and rural Western Slope municipalities and counties. Since the majority of our members are from the Western Slope, in addition to representation from the Front Range, we particularly support statewide rules to limit fugitive emissions of methane from oil and gas operations. All of our members, regardless of location, are on the front lines of confronting the impacts of carbon pollution, including extreme heat and degraded air quality that impacts public health, particularly vulnerable populations, devastating wildfires and floods, infrastructure damage, and hydrologic cycle shifts that are already affecting the economies of mountain communities reliant on winter sports, as well as the agricultural economy statewide. We must act to reduce the impacts of climate change, as the costs of reacting to and recovering from natural disasters and other climate impacts can be enormous for our local government budgets, as well as for residents and businesses. We want to thank all of the commissioners for your hard work. We know it must seem like a thankless job at times, but it really does matter. CC4CA has been a party to the Air Quality Control Commission's oil and gas rulemaking, and we are broadening our bandwidth to more fully participate in COGCC rulemaking. We look forward to working with staff and those of you who will serve on the new commission. Thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you, Mr. Easley. We have next Ms. Shayna Oliver. Ms. Oliver, you have been unmuted, so if you'd like to speak, we are ready.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Shayna Oliver. I am a Colorado resident. I am a tribal affiliate of the Navajo Nation. I am also, my family, I am a mother of 4 children, and we are descendants of the genocide known as the Long Walk of the Navajo, as well as the Navajo Nation have seen what damages can be caused by oil and gas, as well as uranium and coal plants. So oil and gas is not anything new, and its health impacts are nothing new to scientists. And I'm not sure why you guys ignored the evidence of the harmful impacts to our climate, but these harmful impacts to our climate are not only harmful to the environment, but it's very harmful to our health. The indigenous people have seen the highest rates in asthma, diabetes, cancer, leukemia, mental health, heart disease, as well as premature deaths, including the increased impacts of adverse birth outcomes. I myself have been born prematurely, low birth weight, and as many of us on the reservation, we don't discover our birth defects until later on in life. They can range from different things, from having 1 kidney to having a cleft palate to not having the right compromised immune system. So these are actual facts of health impacts. These oil and gas development are not new, it's just new to the area that you're bringing them to. It's not new that it's harmful to our environment. It's not new that they're harmful to our health, especially women. Across the board, women are the most that are going to be impacted by these developments. So that's why men don't see these developments as harmful to their health, because it impacts mainly women as well as the babies that women hold during their term, and as well as being exposed to these contaminants into our air, because air pollution has no borders. Just because you're developing there in that area doesn't mean the air pollution is going to stay in that area. And I think it's very disheartening that you keep bringing oil and gas to the neighborhoods, especially of where you're proposing to have oil and gas allowed north of the arsenal, when there's already Superfund sites in that area. And you continue to neglect the harmful impacts of our health, especially women and women carrying, that are carrying to be full term.
Ms. Oliver,
Those people,
excuse me, I apologize. Your time has expired.
Right. Well, thank you. And I hope you really consider the actual benefits that you can actually do with Senate Bill 181 and honor Indigenous people's right. We have a right to clean water, and the Colorado River is our source of water. And it is a responsibility of all non-natives to keep that access of clean water to all Indigenous tribes that flow south of Colorado. So keep that in mind. And nobody is going to escape the harm from these contaminants.
Thank you very much,
So
Ms. Oliver, for your comments.
Doesn't mean it's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then I'm going to go back and see if we can potentially locate Ms. Eleanor Nelson. We have a Bill Nelson who has registered. Mr. Nelson, I'm going to unmute you on the hopes that potentially Eleanor Nelson is there with you. So if you give us a moment, we'll get you unmuted and see if in fact Eleanor Nelson is there. Well, it looks as if the entry for Mr. Nelson is not, we're not unable to actually mute you. I'm not sure if you've put yourself on mute and we can't unmute you. So again, if Eleanor Nelson is here and can chat and let us know how you've been registered, we're happy to have you speak. So Mr. Chair, it looks as if we haven't heard from Ms. Nelson or the other individuals whose name we've called out. So that does conclude the public comment for today. And Mr. Chair, if you'd like to move on to the rest of the agenda, we are ready for that.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Larson, and maybe if Ms. Nelson and some of the other folks that weren't able to chime in now, if they put in the chat box, maybe that they're here, depending on where we're at in the schedule, we can allow them to speak. So, okay. Okay, let's move to the report from me, and then we'll move over to Director Robbins, and then minutes and consent agenda and so forth. For my update, I want to give you all a landscape on where we're at with COVID-19, some information on the most recent economic forecasts, talk about kind of what we're doing with the Department of Natural Resources and some of the goals that we're working to achieve. So first of all, COVID-19 cases right now, and these numbers are from 4 p.m. yesterday, we have a total of 29,901 positive cases, and that's cumulative. The state has tested 264,446 people, and deaths due to COVID-19 are at 1,417. The governor, as you all know, we started with the stay-at-home order and then moved to safer at home order. And then more recently, added a twist to safer at home order to also have a new concept called Protect Our Neighbors. And so with the most recent executive order, I just want to share with you some of the highlights that the state has offered some guidance for. So for example, residential summer camps may open with groups of 10 kids indoors or 25 kids outdoors. Indoor events like conferences, receptions, museums can begin to open really based on the size of the venue. So like a regular size rooms under 5,000 square feet may open at 25% capacity, or, you know, more or less depending on how large the room is, you may have a certain amount of people that would be allowed. Outdoor events like concerts, fairs, rodeos, receptions can also begin to open, and really more or less at a 50% capacity. Bars are able to open at 25% capacity, or up to 50 people indoors. Personal services, for example, you know, facials, you know, lip or waxing and so forth, can also can expand what they're able to open up to. And then non-critical manufacturing facilities can also open up to 50% capacity or 50 people in a room. So I think you all know that the governor has provided a framework across the state and has really not tried to have a one size fits all, because, for example, Mesa County has very, very low COVID-19 positive cases, but other communities have much higher rates. So he's really trying to thread the needle in terms of what the local public health directors see as what they can achieve locally, and try to tailor the needs of each community. So more or less, local communities can, if they want to, they can have a higher standard of protections. They can have, for example, a stay-at-home order. They can move to safer at home, or this new concept of protect your neighbor. There are certain criteria that the local county and public health have to achieve in order to get that agreement, you know, through CDPHE and the state of Colorado in general. You know, the Department of Natural Resources, we're a pretty large agency. When you look at full-time, part-time, and seasonal, we are just under 3,000 employees, and, you know, knock on wood, we do not have any positive confirmed cases of COVID-19. We actually had one person that was fitting all the, you know, all the recipes of having it potentially, the coughing, the temperature, and so forth, flu-like symptoms. And I just learned today that person tested negative. So we're still on the right track in terms of Department of Natural Resources staff. We have continued to, you know, keep all of our state parks open. All of our campgrounds are also open at this time, and people are really utilizing our natural resources, I want to say more now than ever. And I think that's a real positive, but it's also a challenging for managing. And we've been working closely with our federal partners like the Bureau of Land Management and the U.S. Forest Service to really work to, you know, manage our trailheads, manage our camping opportunities, and just try to work together to share information on how we can, you know, manage our natural resources collectively. Last Friday, the OSPB had an announcement for the most recent economic forecast. As you all know, it's been a very challenging budget year, to say the least. I mean, we went from a March forecast to a May forecast reflecting about $3 billion out of whack for the state budget. And so due to COVID-19, and Colorado has lost about 300,000 jobs in March and April unemployment rate rose to 11.3%. And the general fund revenue is expected to fall by 4.9% for fiscal year 2019-2020. And we're still under fiscal 19-20. That more or less expires June 30th, and the new fiscal year will start July 1st. But it's also supposed to fall by another 10.5% for fiscal year 2021. And the general fund revenue forecast was revised up by a net, and this is a positive, 216.9 million over the forecast period, primarily due to technical and legislative changes that increased the revenue just slightly. So we are taking a very close look, not only at Department of Natural Resources, but all of state government, and really, looking at these budget forecasts and how they impact the services that we're able to deliver for Coloradans. Our wildly important goals, many of you have heard me talk about those before. I sometimes call them our WIGs. Those are the goals that the governor has given each department to work on, and I'm happy to say that we are right on track to complete our WIGs for the Department of Natural Resources by June 30th. And just to give you a snapshot of what those WIGs look like, number 1 was sustainable funding for parks and wildlife. Number 2 was to work towards the implementation of the oil and gas rules and regulations. And thank you so much for all your hard work on that. Had a good review with the governor based on that, so thank you. And WIG number 3, increase public access to our public lands. And our original goal was to increase public access by about 95,000 acres. We blew that out of the water with accumulation of about 300,000 acres. So that was very exciting. It's extremely dry right now, especially in the southwest part of the state. We have multiple wildfires going on at this time. And as a result of how dry it is, we have implemented our drought task force. This is a coordination between Department of Public Safety, DOLA, and Department of Agriculture, and the Department of Natural Resources. So we are having ongoing meetings to really plan for this drought that especially is hard hitting in the San Luis Valley and more or less the southwest part of Colorado. And then last but not least, I just want to share with you, I know many of you have heard the news from the governor's executive order outlining the new professional commission that will officially be seated on July 1st. And I just want to share with you some of those names and just briefly a little bit about them. The first person is Priya Nanjappa. So Priya currently works for the Conservation Science Partners. Before that, she worked for the Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies. She really has a strong background in environmental and wildlife issues. And I know she's really excited to be to start in the near future here. Karen McGowan, many of you know Karen. Karen's the deputy for CDPHE. In the previous administration, Karen filled in for COGCC activities from time to time. And she's played a really critical role within CDPHE, especially with COVID-19, but she'll also play a really important role looking at oil and gas issues moving forward. Bill Gonzalez, he will be the representative for oil and gas. He currently works for Occidental Petroleum, and before that, Anadarko. He really has a specialty with, I'd say, with land, and he's worked closely with getting projects off the ground, and really kind of has the land expertise within Occidental right now. And then another person, I've never really heard of him, John Messner. I don't know about John, but no, John's obviously on this board. And John, I know Gunnison County will miss you for sure, but you've been a real leader on this commission, and I'm really excited that you'll continue to serve in this capacity, especially the importance of land use moving forward. And being a county commissioner, as a former county commissioner, you know, you're really in the weeds on those issues. And then last but not least, there's this guy named Jeff Robbins, and he will be the new appointed chairman of this commission. And you know, Jeff has worked tirelessly from, gosh, I mean, since the first day I've met him, but even before, working on oil and gas issues and reforms and working with local communities. And to have Jeff's leadership as chairman, I think that really rounds out a really, in my opinion, like an amazing all-star group of people that are really passionate and will do just a fantastic job for people of Colorado. So I know I'm really excited about this lineup, and I know the governor is really excited about it as well. And then you're probably scratching your heads wondering, okay, what with Jeff's appointment, you know, who's going to be the captain of the department, right? Well, that new leader will be Julie Murphy, and she will be the division director. I just named that yesterday. And Julie will just, she's been playing a huge role, you know, being the chief of staff and working with Jeff. And she'll continue to play a really important role for this division. And in my opinion, really making sure that there's a good relationship and working relationship and functionality between the chair, Jeff Robbins, and the new division director, Julie Murphy, is and me, frankly, is very, very important moving forward. So congratulations to the new board. Congratulations, Jeff. Congratulations, John. And congratulations, Julie. But also congratulations to all you, I don't want to say unprofessional, non-paid commissioners. You know, I think we'll have a few minutes at the end to kind of talk about our experiences and so forth. So I don't want to get into too much detail, but thank you for just amazing work. And it's been really great working with you, all of you. And, you know, as you all know, it hasn't all been easy. You know, there's been plenty of folks that have waved to us with not all 5 fingers. Sometimes it's just been the middle finger. But in seriousness, you have just put an enormous amount of time in to really do your homework, to really get Senate Bill 181 off on the right footing. And you really put that in motion for the new professional commission to take over here shortly. So with that, that's it for my update. And next up is Director Robbins.
Thank you, Chairman Gibbs. Just first off, can you hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up. Yep, okay, good. So I appreciate your leadership here. And yeah, we are gonna get to a point here at the end of the agenda in which we'll have some ability to say thanks to the volunteer commissioners for the plus 1 year service from them to us. I just have a few brief remarks with regard to the update from me as director. I guess, you know, first I'd like to sort of thank our commissioners, thank you, thank my staff, and thank Coloradans as a whole for the great work that we're all doing conducting these meetings in a virtual setting. I think that you know, no one anticipated this. I certainly didn't anticipate this when I signed up a year and a half ago, 18 months ago. But I think that this is a testament to our ability to continue to hold meetings and conduct the state's important business around oil and gas and implement 181 and undertake daily work, et cetera. You know, Ms. Larson, I can't thank you enough for your wonderful ability in being able to coax through public comment and getting folks unmuted and then muted again. I frankly think that it works remarkably well. And, you know, seeing that, you know, we're under an order from the governor, and let me just say this to, you know, all the folks that are listening in, my division, COGCC, remains under an order to work from home through Labor Day. You know, we have a few folks that are coming in and checking the mail and doing some of that, but in general, we're working from home. And, you know, I sort of anticipate that as we move to professional commission, there will be, you know, working from home in that regards as well. And so I think that these meetings have shown that we can continue to be successful even in a work from home perspective. And so I'm just happy to sort of announce that our staff can do that. You know, our field staff continues to work from home. That's where they worked from before COVID-19. I can say that, you know, in all due respects, COGCC continues to be active and engaged and protective of health, safety, welfare, and the environment as we work through this global pandemic and continue to work as we're doing. You know, I too want to, you know, note with regard to staff updates that yes, I'll be moving to professional commission and chair of that, and I'm excited about that next step, and I'm really thankful that the governor has faith in me and you, Commissioner Gibbs, have faith in me in doing that. I think that it goes without saying with regard to staff updates that your naming Julie Murphy as director is just an awesome next step. I think that the seamless transition there is going to be important as we move from the volunteer commission to the professional commission. And, you know, Julie had a stint as director before. She's got wonderful working relationships with all of our staff, and I think is going to be the perfect person to ensure a seamless transition to professional commission. Some recent updates, as everyone is aware, this commission on June 10th passed the wellbore integrity rulemaking. This established the most protective rules for protecting our water sources. I just want to note for the record that following the enactment of the wellbore integrity rules, there was consensus, a broad consensus from all of our stakeholders as to the critical positive nature of those rules. That type of consensus is not easy to come by, and I want to thank our stakeholders and thank the commission, thank my staff and the leadership of our staff for allowing that to sort of percolate and come together. I think it is a wonderful testament to, you know, we talk about the Colorado way, but, you know, for goodness sake, that really was an amazing coalition of folks getting together and doing the right thing. And I hope that that's a testament that the professional commission and staff here at commission can work with as we move into mission change rulemaking. And mission change rulemaking is set to go. I had a question from the press the other day. Well, why are we waiting until August 24th to start mission change rulemaking? And actually, we're not waiting at all. What we're doing is the Administrative Procedures Act has a bunch of different deadlines that need to be met: party filings, pre-hearing statements, rebuttal statements, witness testimony. All of that needs to come into being. And so that'll happen in July and early August. And then we're set for the mission change rulemaking, which includes cumulative impacts and alternative location analysis, all of which we're mandated to do. And that is slated to take place between August 24th and September 10th. I would like everyone to know that despite the fact that we've had a bit of a slowdown in our ability to have hearings with the change from the volunteer commission to professional commission, with the recognition that we didn't want to start mission change with one group and then have to flip it to the next group. At the end of the day, we're only going to be 6 weeks delay in terms of starting up our new 181 rulemaking. We had always shooted for September 15th as the enactment date of our new rules under 181, and now we're looking at November 1st. So if all things go well, we'll have the meetings on August 24th to September 10th with the professional commission. We'll work through the rulemaking with our stakeholders, and we'll turn on new rules on November 1st. What that means in terms of day-to-day activity, the Senate Bill 181 provided to commission and to director, that was me and that will be Julie, the objective criteria permitting. That is a scheme in which we are able to bring a 181 prism to day-to-day operations. We've used that, I think, successfully. We've not halted all permits, nor have we approved all permits. And I think that's entirely what we were told to do by the Colorado legislature. That regulatory protocol will remain in place until the new 181 mission change rules are implemented on November 1st. So we'll continue to have objective criteria permitting. As I mentioned in my director's report last month, I would note for the record that we have had a fairly large slowdown in permits that have been filed. For the month of June, we've received 7 new 2A location permits. And that's a good bit less than you would have seen in June of a year ago. We've received 68 new well locations or Form 2s. So 7 locations, 7 2As, 68 new wells associated with those 7 2s. In June to date, we've approved 11 new locations and 123 new wells. So we're still working with objective criteria, but as is cognizant with slowdown, we're making sure that if new locations are approved, they are approvable under 181 and under objective criteria. I also wanted to just sort of remind folks, we heard a lot of folks concerned about orphan wells and sort of operator distress. We posted and we had a special meeting here a month and a half ago, but we posted a white paper about COGCC and how we act during COVID-19, and about COGCC and how we address potential financially distressed operators. As folks may have learned recently, we had another operator file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, so that's a restructuring. I was on the phone the next day with that operator to ensure that they had plans in place to ensure that all of their operations on a day-to-day operation perspective were continuing and were protective of health, safety, welfare. And I have a memo from them that establishes that, yes, that's the case. So I just want to ensure the public that as we go through these days that are a little different than before, the health, safety, welfare of operations within the state of Colorado remain in place. And COGCC field staff is out there and they're still doing their work. The Environmental Protection Group is out there doing their work, and everything is in a good place in terms of the COVID-19 and in terms of the sort of the change in finances and operation structure. So with that, we'll look forward again to the end of this meeting, in which I would like to spend a little time providing some thanks to the volunteer commissioners. But I think we're ready to move to the next place of our agenda, unless there's questions. Thank you, Chairman.
Are there any questions for Director Robbins or for me, actually, before we move to minutes and then consent agenda items? Okay, seeing none, let's move to the minutes. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Okay, a motion to approve has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
And there's a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Say no. Okay, the ayes have that. Next up is consent agenda items.
I'll move approval of the consent agenda as presented. Second.
Motion has been made and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. The ayes have it. Next up is enforcement consent agenda, and this is for item 2003-000070 Huntington Energy recommended order in AOC.
So I'll move approval of the enforcement consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and a second. Any further discussion on this?
I have a quick question.
Yeah, Commissioner Hahn.
Under findings, a procedural history number 6, this is just a technical question. It says the matter is set for June 18th commission hearing. Do we need to change that date? Or is that not a problem that the 18th is listed as the commission hearing date?
Director Robbins, Ms. Murphy, Ms. Larson.
Mr. Chair, this is Ms. Larson. I'm happy to address Commissioner Hahn's question.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Thank you. So Commissioner Hahn, we do notice the hearing of the matter based upon 60 days from when the application's received. So that date happened to be June 18th. We, of course, are hearing it today on the 24th. It's not a defect that we've noticed it for June 18th, but then the matter is actually heard at a later date. That does happen with some degree of frequency, that we have a matter notice for a date certain and then it's heard at a later date.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure it didn't need to be corrected in the record. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. So there's been a motion and it was a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, seeing none. We're just moving right along here. Next up is thank you and appreciation of volunteer commissioners.
Chairman Gibbs, if I could start.
Yeah, Director Robbins.
So what I'd like to do actually is ask Ms. Larson if she could tee up a special thank you for the commissioners that we have for them.
Yes, I'd be happy to. Give me a moment and I'll share my screen and we'll get that going.
Hi, I'm Governor Jared Polis. Last year we celebrated the signing into law of Senate Bill 181, changing the way oil and gas operates in Colorado for the better and creating a sustainable path. With this, we welcome the volunteer commissioners who stepped up to the call of public service, and I want to thank you for your work. Howard Boygan, Pam Eaton, Brenda Hahn, Mark Hopkins, Leanne Jolin, John Messner, and Aaron Overturf. Also, Dan Gibbs, the Executive Director of Colorado's Department of Natural Resources, led as Commission Chair, and John Putnam served on behalf of the Department of Public Health and Environment. Your expertise in the environment, industry, local government, public health, and wildlife really enriched us all. And thank you for really being able to put yourself through and listen to all those voices out there. The change from fostering to regulating in a way that protects our public health, safety, welfare, and the environment. And after just 1 year, you've accomplished so much. From real enforcement to flow line and wellbore integrity rulemaking, to really doing a lot of work around the mission change and alternative location analysis. And this process was done in a thoughtful manner, engaging the community and stakeholders, actually visiting areas in the state directly impacted by oil and gas development, and listening to the public. I think public service is the greatest work that one can do, while knowing that each of you took time away from your careers and families to do it, and your sacrifices are appreciated. The Commission and Colorado is in a better place because of your service. And I want to personally thank each one of you for serving as a volunteer commissioner in a very challenging time on the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission. On behalf of a grateful state, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Larson, and thank you, Governor, for those awesome words of thanks to these commissioners. I just had a few points that I would like to make, and then we can open it up for the commissioners to sort of speak to all of us. But I just want to, acknowledge that, as the Governor said, you have stepped up at a time, that is challenging. but that is also incredibly an awesome time for the state of Colorado as we have worked on implementing SB 19181. You address the duties in all of the matters of from enforcement to the critical 19181 rulemakings. I believe your efforts stand to shape the future of our state's relationship with oil and gas to be more protective for all of Coloradans. You know, we've seen the great work on flow lines and wellbore integrity, and you've certainly set the stage for mission change, cumulative impacts, and alternative location analysis. I want you all to know that, you know, while we are having this virtual send-off, you will be receiving tangible thanks from COGCC in the mail. There is a letter of thanks coming from the governor for each of you for your service. We also have in place and on its way to you the infamous COGCC pump check with your name engraved, and so that will be coming to each of you. So I just want to personally thank each of you for the work that you've done. Just to recognize each of you individually, Chairman Gibbs, thank you for leading and being chair. Your steady advice and ability to lead during these sometimes tumultuous and sometimes very colorful meetings helped us keep focused and work on our work goals. So thank you, Chairman Gibbs. Commissioner Boygan, thank you. You've transitioned from the previous commission. Your educated point of view from an industry perspective and your knowledge has helped provide steadfast leadership to the commission and served it so well. Having served on the previous commission, your historic knowledge has benefited this commission in many ways. Really tremendous thank you for your leadership, Commissioner Boygan. Commissioner Eaton, I want to thank you for stepping up. Your inquisitive mind and environmental and wildlife lens brought to these meetings. Your sort of approach and angle has stretched all of us in our thinking, and I think that has been very beneficial to the success of the commission. So thank you, Commissioner Eaton. Commissioner Hahn, serving in your role has shown to all of us what public service means. I want to thank you for bringing your Weld County perspective, your rural perspective, your ag and mineral ownership perspective to the proceedings. I think that it has served this commission well, so thank you, Commissioner Hahn. Commissioner Hopkins, your sincerity to do the right thing is so genuine. We all appreciate you and your contributions. From your days on the Broomfield Task Force, which brought a lens of thoughtfulness to the work that we're doing here, to your commitment to serve over a year for this commission. Thank you for bringing your perspective, Commissioner Hopkins, to the commissioner. Commissioner Jolan, leading as the public health expert for COGCC certainly became exponentially more complicated when you had the pandemic to run. And I can tell everyone that's listening, from my perspective as a Durango resident, Commissioner Jolan has been instrumental in the work she's done in Southwest Colorado, running San Juan Basin Public Health, as well as attending these meetings and bringing public health perspective. So thank you, Commissioner Jolan, for all the work you've done here, and thank you for all the work you're doing to serve our state during this pandemic. Commissioner Messner, I agree with what Chairman Gibbs said earlier. Your local expertise and perspective was invaluable. Your ability to make a motion was also invaluable and keeps us moving. I look forward to serving with you on professional commission. So thank you for your tenure as volunteer commissioner, and thank you for stepping up in this next pivotal role. Two more, Commissioner Overturf. You too transitioned from the previous commission, and having practiced law before the previous commission, I always was grateful for your insight. Your wisdom keeps us on our toes. Your sharp intellect and your keen eye does not let anything go missed, and you will indeed be missed. I look forward to whatever your next steps are, but thank you for serving on 2 commissions, including this volunteer commissioner. And then Commissioner Putnam, thank you for bringing CDPHE's perspective to this commission. Your internal enthusiasm and optimism that we can arrive at the right decisions served as a guiding light for all of us. especially when we got the oil and gas study from CDPHE. Thank you again for serving. I look forward to your ex officio participation in the professional commission. So with that, I just want to extend a grateful thanks from all of Colorado to this volunteer commission. You've all done yeoman's work. You've rolled up your sleeves. And I believe that you have set the stage for the next steps. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Robbins. Ditto all the way around. And just to add, you know, the willingness for folks to really take this commission seriously and learn from industry. You know, I'm just thinking of the West Slope tour, how important that was to get out there, getting around the state, hearing from people around the state. You know, it was so important, and you all, you know, participated, you were all there, you really want to hear from people. And yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. But, you know, I just want to give a, you know, if I had a glass of champagne, I want to give a huge toast to Director Robbins. Director Robbins, you know, from the minute I met him, has been so laser focused on doing things right, and really looking at when Senate Bill 181 passed, figuring out like, let's get this moving. Let's really make sure that deadlines are met. Let's make sure we're moving along. And Jeff, you know, to have your expertise, you know, and passion to really help shape, you know, this commission too, has been invaluable in your expertise. So I really appreciate it. And I'm glad I get to continue to work with you, you know, in this new capacity, you know, moving forward. So, you know, with that, you know, I think we want to maybe open it up to other commissioners to offer a time to share any, you know, experiences or anything you want to share. I believe that's what we're thinking right now. And just want to open it up.
And Ms. Larson, I think commissioners can unmute themselves. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, great.
Yeah, Commissioner Hopkins.
Seeing an opening, I couldn't resist it, Mr. Chairman. I have just a few remarks I'd like to make, and I'll go through them maybe fast. I hope to do my best. Anyway, there's a lot of thanks and congratulations I actually want to give. And the first people I want to thank are actually the public, who have come together and appreciated both in the flow line rulemaking and the wellbore integrity rulemaking what was accomplished, and came together and were highly supportive and complimentary. We're about 180 degrees from where we started at our first meetings. But I want to thank them for coming together under the guidance and leadership. They kept thanking the commissioners, but I really want to thank the leadership of the staff and our executive director, Dan Gibbs. Dan, as was mentioned earlier, has set a very steady, wise approach to running our meetings, providing guidance and discussions with us when he can. And I much appreciate, Dan, the way you have handled the group from your executive position. The thanks for basically the consensus building process, although it does start at the top. I'm going to thank Director Robbins and the new director appointment, Ms. Murphy, because I think a lot of congratulations and thanks go to them. First, congratulations on your new roles, well deserved. And I think you'll really be great contributors to the new work. But also, thank you you deserve the thanks. You two deserve the thanks for knowing how to listen and create an atmosphere where consensus building can occur. Great listeners, great leaders. And I would not have guessed in my wildest dreams how you have set the stage for a very successful mission change rulemaking, which is going to be very, very difficult, but I know with your all's leadership, will be very, very successful. I don't envy you, but I do admire you. And I want to congratulate Commissioner Mesner on your appointment. It's been great working with you, interesting working with you, and I thank you and wish you all the best in your new commission work, because you're a real contributor. Let's see, want to thank Ms. Larson for running our meetings and the public comments with empathy and wisdom. And so it's just been, for me, a wonderful experience that I'll always remember. I really appreciate the contributions we've been able to make, but I wanted to make sure I took my time to give you all the appropriate congratulations and thanks that everybody deserves. I have never really worked with a better group of people to accomplish some really important things, and wish everybody the best in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Hopkins. Appreciate your words.
Chairman Gibbs.
Yeah, Commissioner Hahn.
So I'll be saying a few of the same things, but a little different perspective. I want to congratulate Commissioner Mesner, Director Robbins, and Chief Murphy for your new appointments. Certainly you will do a wonderful job. Dealing with oil and gas issues became important to me, or important to me on a personal level some years ago, and in the last year became important to me, not just on a personal level, but for the whole state of Colorado. I'd like to continue to be involved in the future of the rulemakings and the future of oil and gas in Colorado. I want to thank the staff for being available to answer questions and to, as was previously stated, just make this a really good experience. Mimi Larson, Hannah Hickman, Jeff Robbins, Julie Murphy, Chris Eisinger, Mike Leonard. Thank you all for your answering questions and your support of this whole process. I appreciate the fact that that we listened to people who chose to speak. And I think that was really an important part of this process. I would like to charge the new commission with carrying out Zoom meetings on a regular basis, even in the post-COVID environment, whenever that may be. I recommend that you continue to Zoom to some degree, just so people from all walks of life, all ages, all parts of the state can still be involved and heard. And I think this is a platform that makes that a fairly easy process for people who, for one reason or another, can't come to Denver to hearings. And so I just encourage you to continue to use that as a tool to listen to the people of the state. Also, just as a side note, I'm sure most of you have seen the new study out of California regarding the risk to pregnant women living near oil and gas. So if you have not seen that, I would suggest you read that study and keep that in mind as you continue with your rulemakings. I want to thank fellow commissioners. I agree with Commissioner Hopkins. It was really great to work with all of you, and it's just so interesting to hear everybody's perspective and take on the issues we dealt with. And I enjoyed this appointment, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Hahn. Really appreciate your service. Other commissioners?
Commissioner Gibbs.
Commissioner Eaton.
Thank you. I too will repeat some of what's already been said. I guess I just wanted to really thank everyone and say it's really been an honor to work on this commission and with this amazing group of people. And many of the individuals that have made this successful have already been mentioned, but my fellow commissioners, the director, the AGs, and the staff have all been incredible, both in working with the commissioners, but also working with the public and this new framework to make a kind of institutional change that is so difficult, and have done it with grace and enthusiasm. And it has just been a real honor. And I think we've together set a good stage for going forward, and there's still a lot to do, but I think we're in a good place. And like Commissioner Hopkins, I want to thank the people who have participated in moving this process forward and how we shift to the way we regulate oil and gas development. It's the job of all of us to ensure the protection of public health, safety, and welfare. And people who came and spoke, the parties who participated in the formal processes, the folks who helped educate the staff as they were developing the white paper and the straw man and or straw dogs, and those of you who worked to the last minute to help improve and come to agreement around the wellbore integrity rules. I think we have had a really, really constructive and sometimes challenging public participation, but I think it's been vital to our success and laying the foundation going forward. And I, like Commissioner Hahn, want to push people to continue to come together around the virtual table and work together on these issues. And then the last thing I want to say is just that we know that there are still communities who are not in this Zoom room or in the room where it happens. And we want to, my hope is that the new commission continues to really try to bring in underrepresented voices and communities. And I'm committed and looking forward to working with the commission to do that. And to protect the public health and safety and welfare, and also bring environmental justice. So thank you so much, and it's been an honor.
Thank you, Commissioner Eden. Thank you for your words.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Overturf.
Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity to have all of us commissioners say a little something. It's nice to be able to kind of sum up our service in this way.
Commissioner Overturf, I'm sorry to interrupt. We're having problems hearing you.
Okay, is this better?
If you could hold the microphone a little bit closer.
Like this?
That's wonderful.
Okay. So I just to provide some context, I was approached about serving on the COGCC back in 2017, shortly after the Firestone tragedy. And I agreed to serve out of a sense of public service, recognizing that while the oil and gas industry provides products and fuels that have built our modern economy, the industry also poses serious environmental and health risks that must be addressed. And over the last 3 years that I've been serving, I've seen an amazing amount of change in this agency. And I've also come to know some of the dedicated public servants who work at COGCC, and I cannot overstate my admiration for their dedication, thoughtfulness, and just plain smarts. I'm also really proud of the progress that the COGCC has made over the course of my terms, including the school setback rulemaking, the 2 flow line rulemakings, and the recently completed nation-leading wellbore integrity rules. The Professional Commission has a hard task ahead, but I am very confident that they're up to the challenge. Looking forward, I see 2 areas of future engagement for the incoming commission that I think are particularly critical. First, orphaned and abandoned wells, I think a lot of us know, pose just enormous financial and environmental risks that are not currently being adequately addressed. And second, Senate Bill 181 directs the commission to address the cumulative impacts of oil and gas development. And personally, I can't think of a more pressing cumulative impact than climate change. While we've made significant progress in reducing greenhouse gas pollution across the state and also within this industry, the simple, unavoidable fact remains that in order to maintain a healthy, livable climate for ourselves and for future generations, we just have to do more. The forthcoming 181 implementation rulemakings, I think, are a real opportunity for the incoming commission to take bold, thoughtful action to encourage or to ensure that oil and gas development is occurring in a scope and a manner that's consistent with the state's science-based climate goals. So thank you again for this opportunity to speak. Thank you to all of my fellow commissioners and the staff of the commission. It has been an incredible honor to serve alongside you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Overturf. Appreciate your service.
I guess I'll go next if.
Yeah, Commissioner Boygan. Yeah, then Commissioner
Okay,
Zorn.
I've had some connection issues. Actually, people say that about me in a number of different spheres in my life, but hopefully I can stay connected electronically. I do have some remarks, and some of what I was going to say and will say has already been said eloquently by my fellow commissioners. But I'll plunge ahead anyway. And the first thing I want to do is to thank the members of the public who commented today. I thought their comments were thoughtful and meaningful, just as they have been all along during the 3 years I've been on the commission. Many of them have expressed appreciation for our work and for our openness to their participation in our process. And in turn, I just wanted to express my appreciation for their participation, which has, in my view, greatly contributed to our knowledge and understanding. Do hear you, and we do listen. So I want to say that it's been my honor to serve for this past 3 years on the commission. It's really the highest honor of my professional career. I want to thank Governor Hickenlooper for appointing me originally, and to Governor Polis for reappointing me after the passage of Senate Bill 19-181. I've learned so much, and I've come to appreciate so many aspects of our regulatory process. You know, I've worked on commission matters for many years in private practice, but having the opportunity to be on this side of the table and to see up close how the commission operates has been eye-opening and I have to say truly rewarding for me. I can't say enough about the dedication and skill of the staff. They work long hours to provide the best service they can to all the stakeholders involved in oil and gas development in this state, and to us, the commissioners, to help us do our jobs. Staff jobs are often difficult and sometimes thankless, especially in these charged times, but they soldier on with impressive commitment. Seeing the work that they produced during these recent rulemakings, where they translate highly technical concepts into understandable English and incorporate massive amounts of material from all the stakeholders into intelligible and workable rules, and into English that we can understand, while also trying to come up with the daily demands of their normal workload, has been nothing short of amazing to me. I am proud and grateful that we have such dedicated and knowledgeable public servants. They made my job a lot easier. I want to give a shout out to industry for coming to the table and participating constructively in the rulemakings during a time of extreme challenge. Industry is facing extreme and almost unprecedented headwinds because of the pandemic and the collapse of oil prices and severe capital constraints. Many operators are just struggling to survive, but they came to the table and participated in the rulemaking in a collaborative and constructive way, which contributed and will continue to contribute to our ability to develop the most protective rules in the country that are also workable. Industry devoted countless hours and resources to a stakeholder process that should be the envy of the country. For its collaborative stakeholder process. During the recent rulemakings, stakeholders of diverse interests have come together to find ways to bridge their differences. This is a model for rulemaking that sets us apart in Colorado. As Director Robbins mentioned, we call it the Colorado way, and I believe that that's a meaningful phrase. I saw it in action multiple times. I commend and thank all stakeholders for their willingness to participate in good faith in the process. It gives me confidence that we'll get through the challenging times to come. I want to give particular thanks to Director Robbins and our Director-to-be, Julie Murphy, for their tireless and effective work in managing this commission through the extraordinary challenges we have faced. We often hear about how important the tone at the top is in creating norms and establishing a culture of effectiveness and mutual respect in an organization. And both Jeff and Julie epitomized this. Jeff took on a truly impossible task of starting a new job, running an agency that oversees a highly technical and complex industry, while managing implementation of a massive legislative change to the agency's mission and function, not to mention a pandemic. He did this with grace and openness, with a willingness to listen to all sides, and with good humor and calm demeanor. He kept the ship moving forward past all these icebergs. It was not a coincidence that several of the commenters today applauded the Commission's openness to public participation. That is Jeff's doing. He epitomizes the great manager who cares about his people and his service, has clear vision of what he wants to accomplish, and knows how to get things done in the most effective way. The state has been lucky to have him. Julie was tasked with overseeing key parts of the rulemaking, and she managed to pull this off with consummate skill, tact, and good humor. I don't know how she balanced all the different forces, but somehow she did. And as a result, we have enacted rules that are the model of the nation. I'm confident that with both Jeff and Julie's continued leadership, we'll get through the remaining rulemakings with the same skill and collaboration that have marked their work to date. Our hearings manager, Mimi Larson, kept our process running smoothly and made our job so much easier. She was always on top of things and always responsive to everyone's concerns. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the great support we had from Hannah Hickam, who made sure we had everything we needed to keep going. I want to wish the new commissioners the best in their new roles and to thank them for their willingness to serve, especially you, John. It's been great serving with you, and I know you're going to do a tremendous job on the new commission, of course, under the leadership of Jeff as the chair. It's a great new commission, and I know it's going to do great things. And then finally, I just want to thank my fellow commissioners. I've so much enjoyed our discussions and debates and our personal interactions. We all brought our different perspectives, and we worked collaboratively and respectfully with each other, with good humor, to get through some very challenging tasks. I'm proud to have been part of such a talented and dedicated group, and I'm proud of what we accomplished. Thank you for the opportunity to work with you.
You're here. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Boygan. Appreciate your words. Commissioner Jolan.
Yeah, I really needed you to call on me before Commissioner Boygan because there's really nothing left to say. I mean, one thing I can say about this group of people is it is hard to get a word in edgewise with such an incredibly thoughtful, talented, and dedicated fellow commissioners, staff. It's just, it's always on point, and so there's never really much to add. So I'm not going to add much to that. Ditto for what everybody has said about this experience. I will maybe highlight the other side, which is after a year of service together, and I cannot agree more with the comments that have been made here, and that it is just an incredible learning experience to be with individuals who were so dedicated to public service and took on a task with such enormous responsibility. The breadth and scope of what we were asked to do together as a year, over the year, and by we, I mean the commission staff, the AG's office. I mean, it was everybody saying we're gonna do these things together over a year. And the year ended in a very different place than we expected it to because of circumstances out of our control. And I know that there were comments here today about how we can keep the foot on the gas and how we can continue to understand the enormity of what the task ahead of us is in these most trying of circumstances. And I will say that the dedication and creativity that I've seen in this group of people to keep moving forward has been off the charts phenomenal. And while we are landing in a different place than we expected to, watching the, selection of the professional commission, knowing who's on it, knowing some of you well, and looking forward to the foot on the gas to see the, work continue with the style and framework that's been developed over the past year with the leadership and support is just going to be awesome. From a public health perspective, I'm thrilled that Karen McGowan is going to be on the commission going forward. I do think that a lot of the lens that we need to take to the next stage is the health equity piece and the environmental justice piece. I think that we are all learning together that, America has, all of us have challenges in this world about what our ability to access our best health as individuals. And part of that is what your environmental exposures are. And we have a long way to go as a country and as a state in nailing that. And I'm just thrilled that this commission will have that lens going forward. And good luck and Godspeed to everybody here in our next endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Jolan. And we're all just amazed that you've been able to continue to be on this commission, knowing that you're covering multi-counties in Southwest Colorado on COVID-19 challenges. So thank you for your service on this, but obviously for all the work you're doing for the citizens that live in Southwest part of Colorado. Anything else?
Yeah, I'd like to say a couple words if I could.
Yeah, Commissioner Messner, please.
Oh, thank you. And Commissioner Jolan, I do want to emphasize how heroic I feel public health directors around the state are right now. And the work that you're doing is difficult, and the criticism that you're getting for looking out for the best interests of citizens around the state of Colorado is immense, and the pressures that you are under are just immeasurable. But I see it in all of the public health directors around the state, the desire to continue to push forward to try to do the right thing to take care of the citizens of the state of Colorado. And so I want to thank you for that, because it is the most difficult role in the country right now. And so thank you for what you're doing. I want to thank you all for an incredible learning experience over the last year as we have taken on the challenge of of implementing SB 19181 and rethinking the approach to oil and gas development in the state of Colorado. As a county commissioner, I am on a lot of different boards and commissions, And I can tell you that the composition of the different boards and commissions that I am on really indicate the success of those boards and commissions. And the composition of this particular commission is exceptional. The level of intelligence, the level of passion, the level of, or the willingness to jump in, understand, be involved, provide input, and most importantly, listen to the public, listen to the stakeholders, absorb that information, and then work together to come up with collaborative and quality solutions. And I've seen that at every meeting that I've been at. I've seen it from every single one of you. I've learned from every single one of you. And so just thank you for that. It's been a special year for sure. I want to thank Governor Polis, Executive Director Gibbs for giving me the opportunity to continue to serve on the Oil and Gas Conservation Commission moving forward, to continue the work that you all have started, and to continue to take the steps to implement and evolve the mission and the rulemakings for the Colorado Oil and Gas Commission. Thank you for that opportunity. I can't tell you how excited I am about a very daunting task. And so Director Robbins, new Director Murphy, Mimi, Kyle, everyone else, Hannah. I just want to thank you, and I'm looking forward to working with you. So, yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Messner, and we look forward to continuing to get to work together on this new professional commission.
Mr. Chair?
Sure. Yes, Commissioner Boygan.
Yeah, I'll keep this short. I know I was pretty long-winded before, but I did inadvertently omit one key person that I intended to thank, and that was Assistant Attorney General Davenport. I just can't say enough about the leadership that he provided to this commission, to me personally, on the legal issues, which are very complex, that this commission faces. And he did it, I think, effectively, in a way that was understandable, and gave us really, really good advice. So the state is very fortunate to have him, and I just want to say that I appreciated his efforts.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely ditto for that, for sure. And especially Kyle with having a baby, you know, during COVID-19 challenges.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Davenport, did you want to say any words? I also want to give an opportunity for Ms. Murphy too to say a few words. Yeah, Commissioner Putnam.
I'll keep my remarks brief because I think all of you have expressed a lot of the same thoughts that I would have, and want to particularly call out Commissioner Jalon and Commissioner Messner doing double duty. Certainly the public health officials have been right at the front line of COVID and still engaged in this process. And I know Commissioner Messner, the county commissioners in Gunnison County have had quite a struggle and, really done amazing work to protect your community during this critical time. And so really want to commend you for that work and appreciate that while still being able to, keep focus on some of the critical work here at the commission. And in addition to wanting to thank all of you for the excellent engagement and really hard work and brilliant thoughts, thank the public for, excellent and robust engagement, not only here, but also at the CDPHE commissions and beyond. Certainly staff, Director Robbins had a really tough row to hoe and really did so, I think, with grace, elegance, brilliance, and appreciate those efforts given the difficult task ahead. Chairman Gibbs, keeping the kind of leadership of this commission moving forward, I think has been absolutely critical. Julie Murphy and Mimi, Hannah, and really all the staff have been excellent to work with. And what a lot of folks don't see is the continuous engagement between the professional staffs of this commission, but also the teams at CDPHE and other parts of state government that have made for much better proposed rules that then provide for a better platform for stakeholder engagement and public comment, and then ultimately action by this commission. So it takes a village, it takes a team to get there, and it's been critical for everybody to be part of that process. And I think looking forward, and I'll also include Kyle in that list, and Joel, a new addition to that team who really have been helping on that process. But really want to take this moment to reflect moving forward. We're only partway done with this process. And, I look forward in my new role as a non-voting advisory member of the new commission to keep that work going. We have at least 3 rulemaking hearings over at CDPHE implementing elements of this or related pieces through the end of this year. I'm hoping certainly that the commissioners will not be stranger to this commission or those processes. You've gained a lot, you've learned a lot, and we need that expertise along with all the stakeholders on this call, and I'll say bravo to the 136 of you who are still with us, to listen to these comments. We need that engagement. We need the continued momentum to move forward, despite the challenges, and agree this Zoom platform, I think, works better than a lot of folks had expected. We're seeing more engagement from around the state, from different communities, and we want to see it, but we also want to make sure we keep that going and we keep hearing from people we otherwise might not hear from. And would definitely agree with Commissioner Jalon that Karen McGowan is going to be a great gain, huge loss for CDPHE, but she really has, a deep commitment and engagement on principles of health equity and environmental justice. And, that's been critical at CDPHE, and we're working to get better there. She'll help up the commission's game in that regard as well. And it's a critical task ahead of us to come up with the best and most equitable rules. So with that, I'm looking forward to this mostly as a change in seats and hats, but really continue to work with everybody, try to implement the requirements and the vision in Senate Bill 181.
Great, thank you so much, Commissioner Putnam. Next, I want to welcome back Ms. Murphy, and really excited to have her in this really important role. As you all know, the Department of Natural Resources has a lot of different divisions, and the three areas that I normally worry about the most has been oil and gas, water, and parks and wildlife. We've had some strong people as division directors in those positions. Never really worried about Jeff Robbins being division director. He's put his heart and soul into it. He would give me updates. We would work together. And moving forward, I have every faith in Miss Murphy. Julie, you've ran this division before. You command respect of the organization. When I first started in my current role, you were out on leave. You recently had a baby, and Mike Leonard was running the show. But I was really happy when you came back to be my assistant director for energy and minerals. I was sad to see you leave when you went back to oil and gas, but I knew that you'd play a really important role to help Jeff out. And just really excited that you'll be in this new role, moving forward. I will always worry about oil and gas, but with Jeff's leadership before and your leadership now, I'll worry less. So Julie, I would like to turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, Chair. First, I can't help but start with a funny anecdote that's about myself, because that seems to be the way I operate in this world, which is staff has started calling me Boomerang Murphy because I've jumped titles and roles and just kind of gone to where the opportunity is. And so I'm thrilled for your faith in me, for Jeff's support of me, and really looking forward to this new chapter. It's an incredible opportunity to build upon the foundation that you commissioners have set for us. You have valued collaboration, you have valued consensus, you have valued input from diverse folks, and that is what has charted us to the success we've achieved so far. And those are the threads and the elements that I intend to carry forward into the next rulemaking and into my tenure as director. I think it's your comments today of gratitude for each other, for our stakeholders, for the process are echo my own sentiments. I didn't actually expect to get emotional at 10:45 this morning, but I sure did. Thank Commissioner Boygan in particular for that. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude and excitement for the next step. You all have charted an incredible course. It changed so dramatically from where we started, but you've accomplished 3 huge rulemakings within Senate Bill 181, and you have, again, laid the foundation for us to chart the course with some of the most instrumental of the rulemaking. So my unending gratitude to you, and I also warn you that I will continue to be a pest. You may not be a commissioner, but I already have your contact info, so expect to hear from me. And with that, I would say thank you. And the one other piece is part of the reason for the excitement is goes to the comments from so many of you about gratitude to staff and stakeholders. We have an incredible group of humans here at COGCC and an incredible group of stakeholders on who have such different perspectives, but are all committed to making Colorado the best it can be. And working through those different pieces, we, I think, achieve that outcome every day. And I am so proud of the staff at the commission as we've navigated so much change, not just with a pandemic, legislative change, but also significant changes in senior management at COGCC itself. We've had the retirement of a number of managers and have new faces stepping forward, and they've done it with grace, humility, and unbelievable expertise. So it is a bright future for us, I think, and that is, again, to build upon the wonderful foundation that you all have laid for us. So with that, thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Murphy. Well, just to wrap things up, I again, really appreciate everyone's service. Again, I know there's 133 people still on the call, but for all the stakeholders that have been participants as well, my hope is that the new commission will still be engaged and will want to hear from people just like this commission has been, and really just appreciate your service. It's just this work is incredibly important for the state of Colorado to get it right, and just can't thank you enough to work on the implementation of Senate Bill 181, and thanks for your service. Are there any other announcements or anything? And then I think we need a motion to adjourn as well.
We're all waiting for Messner.
Come on,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, Commissioner Messner made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's been made for a second as well. Any further discussion? Okay, well, thank you, everyone. All those in favor signify as aye.
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 Any opposed, say no. Okay, we will adjourn. Thank you again, everyone. And I
Thank
look
you
forward
all.
to this new adventure with the
Thank you.
professional commission.
Thank you.
Thank you.